welcome into the show. Good evening. Glad you guys are along because tonight we've got two amazing deals for you on two spectacular watches, two very different price points, but both rather exciting. We're going to talk about XO Retro, and specifically by far a record low price. And I say we because Avi Vieira is going to be joining us. Now, to be clear, this isn't going to be live. We actually, when did we do this? About a month or so ago? A little more, really, about 6 weeks ago. We did a show with Avi Vieira, who, of course, a lot of you know is one of the most popular women ever to be in the realm of wristwatches. So what we've done is we're going to bring back sort of a greatest hits tonight, and we've brought in the new lower pricing, so you get to see her delve into in great detail the XO Retro story. And believe me, this is going to be well worth your time. And for those of you who already have our advance notice, you know the lowest price, you can go ahead and jump on that right now. The other thing we're going to be talking about is this guy. This is the Renato Moonphase. Specifically, it's the mechanical automatic Moonphase that was individually handcrafted by the master watchmaker Martin Braun. So there's a lot to talk about there as well. Now in this intro, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. This piece lists for $5,000. To be exact, $4,995. We've done this a couple of times over the last year and a half, but never like tonight. You can choose the black alligator strap with the gray dial and get it for just $9.99. We've never done a deal like this. No one has ever done a deal like this. I checked as recently as while we're shooting this show for you, and consistently I see people asking $2,000, $2,500, $2,300, $1,800, depending on finish and so on. And by the way, we do have some other finishes. If you want it finished in rose gold or in yellow gold or whatever, we have that. It's just not going to be at the $9.99. The $9.99 is going to be the gray dial on the black alligator strap, but it's a $5,000 watch for $9.99. And a watch, by the way, that was hand-modified by Martin Braun. So we've got much to talk about. We'll obviously get into a bit of detail on that. For those of you who already have the email or you've seen the early blast and you want to jump on it now, just look to the link. If you're looking at us on Facebook, I believe it'll be over to your right. If you're on a portable device, it'll be right below. And all the final pricing for the XO Retro, the final pricing for the, of course, the Renato is going to be there, and you can get on either of those that you want. Both are in a finite quantity, and when they're gone, they're gone. So if you're ready to go, you should. Very quickly, a couple of things here up front. First of all, especially for those of you who are new, welcome. Glad you are tuned into the show. Please join our email list if you haven't yet. Let me give you some reasons. First of all, we're going to give you great deals every single day of the year, but we are never going to spam you. We don't share, we don't sell our list. You're very safe with us. We don't like spam either. But what you will get is an email a day that highlights some of the strong and very different deals we put together day after day for you. The other thing that being on our email list is going to do, purely at your discretion, is access to a closed group on Facebook. And this group gets early access to everything. They know about final pricing, they know about details on a given watch and so on before anybody else. And in some of these, which are very limited quantity, in some cases extreme limited quantity, it can make the difference between getting your favorite. And it's only an option, but it's a great one. So please join us on Facebook after you have joined the email list. So with that stated, given tonight's gravity, especially with the Renato, I have to again go over what's the big deal about PayPal credit. A lot of you will know the option called 6Pay, right? Well, it's kind of like that, but with even greater flexibility. Once you've qualified for PayPal credit, you have 6 months interest-free. And if you want, 6 months with no payment of any kind. But that's the thing. If you want to take the final price and divide it up into 6 equal parts, you can do that. Or skip a month or double down on a month. And if you just want to wait the whole thing out and pay it just before it's due, you can. It's very, very flexible. And it gives you options, which are very cool, right? You can't do with a rigid format, but you can do with that. And it's on the last page when you're checking out. So if you'd like to try it, you'll see an option, PayPal credit. You click that, and once you qualify, you're good to go. And by the way, not a layaway program. We're going to send you the watch in just a few days. So it's, I think for many of you, a very practical solution. Okay, that stated, we have much to discuss tonight. So we're going to take a quick time out and come back right after our famous intro. Please enjoy that. Okay, Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at tonight is the P-51 Mustang watch from XO Retro. And I say we because we're going to have Avi Vieira back on the show. Now, the footage we're going to show you actually was put together in early February, but it really delves into the important detail on this watch. And here's the thing about it. The finished package originally had a list, I think it was around $495. Now, the big deal is that you have a certified content in the case. A part from a P-51 Mustang was melted physically into the case. So you're going to get all the original documentation, including the hologram, the box within a box within a box. The packaging is outstanding. And here's the thing. Let's just cut to the chase. We've never done anything like this before. It's only $39.99. Now, there are 4 different color options, as you will see, and if you want to go to the website, you'll have them drop down, and you can choose between, obviously, the yellow one or the green one or whatever, right? But if you'd like to get all 4, we put together all 4 of these for just $149.99. And whether you choose 1, 2, 3, all 4, whatever, shipping is included. So save even more money with the package, which has never been available at this kind of a price either, or choose your favorite at just $39.99. Obviously, when they are gone, they're gone. We can't do rain checks, but if you want something that history buffs are going to love, that the watch geeks are going to love, everybody is going to love this build. There's really never been anything like it remotely at this kind of a price point. Now, there's certainly other DNA watches out there, but they all go for many hundreds. Some of them, in fact, probably the most famous goes for many thousands a hit, right? But at $39.99, zero downside. And I can see here, obviously, that you guys are already starting to jump in on this. So with that stated, let me get out of the way, and we're going to go back quite a few weeks now to a show that we put together with Avi Vieira and XO Retro. Check this out. With the first one, and
I know, I'm really excited. I'm actually getting it on my wrist right now. I'm actually holding the tag. I was trying not to pull a mini pearl, but then I realized I had this like super aggressive fist. So there's the tag. But the timepiece itself is absolutely stunning. I really love the high contrast between the band itself and the case is where the magic happens. So that is where you are going to have this certified metal from a P-51 Mustang literally amalgamated into the metal of the watch case. So every single one of these timepieces is going to have that historic element on your wrist. So I love the story. I love the look of the timepieces. Of course, as you know, Tim, they're kind of an homage to the timepieces from that era.
Well, I agree with you, of course, Abby, is that these become immediately collectible. I also think anyone who's a history buff, a World War II buff, an aerospace buff, there's so many ways to look at this. Oh, and let's talk price here, too, just for a second, because here's the thing. We've had these sporadically here talk about watches, but never like this. With shipping included, guaranteed for Valentine's Day. So yes, add to the collection or the perfect gift. You can pick up 1, 2, 3, or all 4. And speaking of which, oh, hold on. Yeah, we're also going to be trying to answer your questions here while we're doing this. Good. Yes, absolutely, Abby. Let's talk about, someone's going to go, well, how do I know that? All right, check this out.
The certification process was extraordinarily tedious, okay? So every single one of these is going to come with a certificate of authenticity. It actually comes in this fancy pants little encasement. The box itself is really well packaged, a box within a box within a box. But it is going to say that this is to certify and specify that the watches of the XO Retro military DNA timepieces contain metal recovered from North America P-51 Mustang. And you do have the notary, the XO Retro seal, which, by the way, not that I've tried this, but if you tried to peel this off, it would leave remnants behind. So it's very secure. This is secure stuff here.
I love that the holograms were used on this, by the way.
I know, it's so cool.
It's very cool. And I also should comment, I don't remember the exact number, but I can tell you that when these premiered, in fact, Abby and I did the television show that did these. I know the asking price was, for each one, was closer to $200. I don't.
I want to say it was $199.
It was what?
I thought it was $199.
Was it $190? It could quite possibly. And even then, one of the things I remember, Abby, was that you and I were talking at the time about the packaging and how this, and this is true, even at that price tag, when you see the box inside the box, and then you the certificate of authenticity, which is embossed, and then you get to the hologram for the other certificate of authenticity, it belies the original asking price. Absolutely. But even just to add to a collection, or to pick this up for a history buff, aerospace buff, anyone who's a fan of the old war machines, this is a jaw-dropping deal. We've never done anything like this.
Absolutely. And within that box, you're going to get this instruction booklet, which honestly, if you could ever love an instruction booklet, this is the one I
check this out.
There's actual photography from the eras in this timepiece, because of course it's to the entire XO retro collection. And so it does have, practical functions like setting the time and things like that, but it's also got really awesome warplanes. So that's a bonus. I love this book. It's beautifully crafted. I also appreciate, I hate to admit this, but as I get older, my vision is not what it once was. You notice, you're starting to pull things away. The book is really large. So have you noticed, Tim, like instruction manuals, they make them like this size. I don't know what that is, but you have to have like bifocals and a magnifier to be able to read it. So this is really simple to read as well, which I appreciate. So it's a beautifully crafted book. But I mean, look at these photos. Like,
the photos in these are gorgeous. In fact, let's just thumb through. It's our show. We can do what we want. Let's thumb through some of them.
And so the beauty of it is of course, we're talking about World War II and the fighters involved in this. I know for many of you, it is a very personal experience in terms of, the history in your family, or if you self-served. So, I mean, this is a huge, huge factor. I'm looking for more pictures. I just see instructions, Tim. Like, boring.
Yeah, but they're large.
Yeah, they are large. Oh, I like this one too. Look. So I mean, it's.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, you might not have seen anywhere else. And I was fortunate enough to get to visit some of these warplanes, and they are amazing. You talk about magnificent pieces of machinery, and so the watch is really a nod to that. You have a magnificent piece of machinery on your wrist, and it literally has the DNA from that warplane. Again, in this instance, the P-51 Mustang. It is fantastic. I love it. Watch metal aside. I mean, this is fantastic. And Tim, do you have this on your wrist?
I will in a second.
Okay, because Tim has a proper man wrist.
Yeah,
so
I've been told. Yeah, high praise. This is what it looks like on me. And I wear almost exactly an 8, and having had this on, it's not buckled at the moment. I'd say at least an 8.5, maybe a little more, but let's play it safe. I'd say an 8.5 or below, and you guys are going to be fine. And I think it's a 44, I believe, is the case.
Yeah, and so we are talking about the DNA within this timepiece, right? You also, by the way, have this amazing etching on the back of the P-51 Mustang as well. And the back is going to say stainless steel case, water resistance, we're talking 50 meters, and then it does say vintage World War II military DNA. You also have a genuine leather strap, so it's extraordinarily comfortable. I love, getting a new watch is always exciting, but then when you have to break in a new watch, to me, that's kind of the frustrating process. I wish they would just come, worn in. But the nice thing about this is you're going to notice there's a great deal of flexibility. So it's not one of those watches that you put on and it's, crazy stiff and awkward on your wrist.
When these are sold out, that's it. To my knowledge, we're not going to be able to get any more. I know these aren't made anymore. In fact, Avi, you were there. You were actually physically on the XOSkeleton team. I view this as one of the apexes of that company when the idea of retro and the DNA came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, it was the kind of thing that seemed so outlandish that it might not be able to be accomplished. And I mean, just the certification process alone, we legitimately thought, okay, have we gone too far? Is this going to be too difficult? Because I mean, we're not talking about, oh yeah, I promise it's there. I mean, we're talking about actual legal certification, because if you're making a claim like that, of course you have to be able to back it. So the certification process of, okay, here's one for you, even attaining these parts, like in this instance of, the P-51 Mustang. So it might be various different parts of the plane for each of the timepieces, but that has to be certified too, to ensure that it is actually from that warplane, from that era, et cetera. So, I mean, it's a several step process. in terms of authenticating. And I mean, like you said, Tim, for that price, I mean, it's ridiculous.
This is more than just take our word for it. I mean, it's certified, double certified, hologram. To get this under $50 with shipping, it's astonishing. So you guys, you did good.
Well, and it's the kind of thing, I know that we have a lot of lady watch collectors out there, and I love you guys, and I'm so glad that you're with us as well. But with the gentlemen, just go ahead and buy this for yourself and say, honey, I took care of Valentine's Day. Now you go pick out something for yourself. I mean, come on, everybody's busy these days.
Mission
Let's be practical about love, okay?
Well, as you guys can obviously see, that is quite the deal. And at this point, if we were dealing with the telephones like the 20th century, we would tell you that every line is filled up, because it would be, but we're not using telephones, we're using 21st century technology. So just follow the link. If you're looking at us via Facebook, it should be to the right. If you're on a portable device, it should be just below. Click that, you're going to go right to the page that has all of the final pricing. Clearly, there's a significant run now in the XO Retros, so get over there as soon as you can. Again, it's basically a $500 watch originally, $495. It's, believe it or not, $39.99. And if you want to own all four of them, we have made available a set, if you will, of the four, and you can get that at just $149.99. And shipping is included, whether you get one or two or the set or whatever you want. Okay, the other thing we're going to talk about tonight, and I know a lot of you are waiting for us to delve into this, and so am I, frankly, is the Renato Moonphase, because this isn't just another Moonphase. Frankly, it's one of the most captivating Moonphases I've ever seen in my entire career in regards to wristwatches. Because what Martin Braun did is he basically, I'm going to use the term, reinvented the concept. And what we're going to take a look at here is not, for example, a modified, which I would have first thought, by the way, like a Baozu 7751 or something like that. It's not. It's actually a hand-modified Swissetta 2824. And if you know anything about those movements, you know that they don't have a Moonphase on them at all. In fact, they have a basic 2824 is day-date at it's like, excuse me, it's not even day. It's just a date. So what Martin did is absolutely ingenious, because what we're looking at tonight is a Moonphase that literally follows the phase of the moon, not approximately, but down to minute accuracy. Now, we're going to delve into that through a series of videos that we put together, so I'm going to go to that now, and then I'll be narrating through it, and we'll come back and conclude. But if you guys are looking for the buy of a lifetime on this watch, you are tuned in at the perfect time, because the black strap with the gray dial is available from the original price, the MSRP of $4,995, and currently in the market we're seeing the asking price of basically varying, depending on finish, between $2,000 and $2,500. We're doing it for $999, shipping included. Now when these are gone, they're gone. But I think it's safe to say this is literally the deal of a lifetime on a genuine holy grail of a wristwatch. Fantastic dial, the complications extraordinary, and of course the man who literally hand modified these individually is a legend, that again being Martin Braun. So let's take a look at the video, and then we will come back and conclude things here in just a few minutes. Congratulations, by the way, if you're getting in on this. I'll put it like this: I got one for myself some time ago, and that was way before it was $9.99, so I'm very happy for you guys tonight that are taking advantage of this extraordinary opportunity, which it is. So check out the video. We'll see you guys back here in a bit.
The initial time period after touchdown, we went through various sequences to prepare us for immediate abort or liftoff if we found that that was necessary. We found we had to vent the fuel and oxidizer manifolds a good bit earlier than this blended as we looked more cross-sun to a more sharper, well-defined features and more of a gray color. You see, most of the craters have rounded edges. However, there is a variation in the age of these as we can.
To understand the importance of this piece, it's good to start at the beginning, namely a little bit about the creator, Martin Braun. Born in 1964 in Germany, he was a master watchmaker. He was also a true visionary in the world of horology. He's got many amazing accomplishments, not the least of which was the fact that he earned the title of master watchmaker at the age of just 27. His early career was a restorer of vintage watches, watch movements, and he became well known for specializing in classic watch restoration, sporting complications ranging from perpetual calendar, minute repeater, and of course the tourbillon. Now in 2000, his dreams of launching his own brand, named for himself, Martin Braun, became a reality. Now when this happened, he set the bar very high with the release of the EOS. Now that's a 950-part movement that not only displayed the hours, the minutes, and the seconds, but there's a register on either side of the dial that indicates sunrise and sunset times, and they're calculated for the degree of latitude and longitude for the wearer's location. He would later expound on this in 2003 with the release of what's called Equation of Time, and later the Celine Moonphase, which is actually quite closely related to the piece that we're going to talk about today. He also had his own in-house caliber MAB 88 automatic, and that was, I think, around 2005 or 6. In 2006, Braun merged his brand, again the Martin Braun brand, with the Franck Muller group. And of course, Franck Muller is legendary. That would be merged in an area that is known as Watchland. Now, there were discrepancies with that group. Braun ended the relationship around 2009. What's interesting, though, is that the Franck Muller brand, the Martin Braun brand stayed with the Franck Muller group, not the first master builder to see that. Gerald Genta, Jorge Heizek, Roger Dubuis, Daniel Roth, the same thing has gone down with them. So in 2011, Braun partners with Antoine Mier, I believe is how he pronounces the name, and they formed the brand Antoine Martin. Their current accomplishments include the Slow Runner, which is a masterful watch. If you haven't seen it, well worth looking up. Also the Tourbillon Astronomique. Their pieces have now on occasion crossed the $500,000 price point. So here's a little bit of a background to give you an idea of the true genius that is Martin Braun, the gentleman that personally worked on the wristwatch we're taking a look at today. Okay, so let's break down the Renato Moonphase. Now, the first thing I'm going to do today is get through some of the basic stuff. For example, 45mm by 14.5mm case. It's all in 316L surgical grade steel. Of course, it is presented on a gorgeous alligator strap. I'm not sure who built it, but if I had to guess, I believe it's by Hirsch. It's definitely large grain, and it's very generous. I'd say up to a 9 is not going to be an issue with this at all. Please note the watch is 30 atmosphere water resistant, and that's very unusual for a dress watch, and a reflective sapphire crystal front and back. And there is the core of it, the Swissetta 2824-2 25 jewel movement. With the big difference, of course, being that has been hand modified by master watch maker Martin Braun. And I'm mentioning the instruction manual up front because, unlike most wristwatches with watch collectors, this is one you're really going to want to get into. You do not set this up with the crown, at least as far as the Moonphase is concerned, or the date for that matter. You're going to set it up with a series of pushers you're going to find along the sides of the wristwatch. And part of the magic of this build is that you can set it to within minute accuracy of the Moonphase. And remember, this is not a quartz movement doing this. Martin Braun achieved it by modifying a Swissetta 2824 25 jewel mechanical automatic engine. The dial is absolutely spectacular. It's a 3D rendering of a world map, but it's done with this heavy texture in such a way that it actually does resemble the moon's surface. And of course, as you look at the watch, even a simple glance is going to show you that this is no ordinary Moonphase. The Moonphase itself takes up a huge portion of the upper section of the dial. And how it works is that you've got this photorealistic rendering of the moon, and then across that rendering is going to move a shadow. And it will be marking the duration of the 29.5-day moon phase. And even for a novice, or for that matter, someone who's not really into watch collecting, you find this immediately captivating. You've never seen a dial done quite like this. So let's get into some of the technical parts of this that watch collectors really need to be aware of. And one of the first things, again, I want to emphasize is that this is not a tractor setup, if you will. In other words, the 2824 is not driving a module. Now, I'm not knocking modules. They can do some great things. In fact, maybe a good place to start here is what is a module? So think of a module as a separate device from the movement, which it is. And that module will be custom made to do a certain amount of features or tricks or whatever you want to call it in your wristwatch. There's been some recent examples where a 2824 or maybe a Solita movement has created the power, and in turn that's been driving a module, let's say for a higher end chronograph, that sort of thing. Now, Modules certainly have their place and they do some very cool things, but the real value is having a movement that is created in such a way to do all of these tricks or features so that it does not need a tractor setup, if you will. All right, it's not driving a module. And that's what's going on here. And when I first heard of this, frankly, I thought it was driving a module, but it's not. Part of the brilliance of this is that Martin Braun, again, a true genius in the world of watch building, got a Swiss ETA 2824-2 and personally hand modified each one of them so that the movement alone will not only give you the out of track pointer date, which it does, but more to the point, it gives you the moon phase. Now, no 2824 off the shelf is ever going to give you a moon phase, and I think a lot of collectors know that. So the modification on this is very substantial. But what drives this even further is that it's not just an ordinary moon phase. This is so accurate that it can follow the phase of the moon once you set it up. Now remember, I told you, you're going to want to delve into your manual with this. Once you have set this up, and obviously you have to keep it wound, this is so accurate that it follows the phase of the moon to within 1 minute accuracy. And it's this level of mechanical achievement, combined, of course, with the name that was able to create it, Martin Braun, that drives the value of the watch, that in turn makes this so important for collectors over the last few years. This is an exciting opportunity because, frankly, this hasn't really been available all that much. And when it has, understandably, it's been expensive. In fact, when this first came out, it listed for $5,000, to be exact, $4,995. So to get this in brand new condition as we are doing tonight, much less with the elaborate packaging upgrade, and of course the full manual and original documentation and everything else, this is astonishing at this record low price of just $9.99 for the gray dial on the black strap. Now, another thing I want to point out before we wrap things up tonight is the packaging upgrade, because this isn't the original. This is a packaging that Renato actually built to house a tourbillon they were working on, and they ended up building just a very few of them, but obviously the packaging was completed. And this is a very luxurious box with the alligator motif on the outside, and it's a wonderful box that frankly is certainly worthy of a hand-modified Martin Braun creation. So I want to point out you're getting quite the package upgrade in this presentation this evening. The gray dial on the black strap, that is the one that we are doing for just $9.99, which is basically an 80% discount off the original list. And of course, there is PayPal credit to further help you with that as well. And you'll see that at the checkout. So to reserve yours, if you're watching us live, just hit the link off to the side. If you're on a portable device, hit the link just below. If you have additional questions, you can, of course, reach out at info@talkaboutwatches.com, and we'll try to get back to you just as soon as we can. For those of you reserving this watch, it's going to be a crown jewel in the collection and one you'll never regret. Congratulations.
Rounded edges, however, there is a variation in the age of these, as we can tell by the sharpness of the edge of the crater.
Well, as you can see, that Renato is nothing short of spectacular. One of the ways I choose to look at it is the more you learn about Martin Braun and the genius of his capability that it would took to modify that into the moon phase that it is, you kind of marvel that originally you could own one for as little as $4,995. At $9.99, what can I say? It's a steal. This is extraordinary. And I'm really glad to see that you guys are taking advantage of that because it is the buy of a lifetime. It is a real grail. And yeah, I'm kind of envious because when I got mine, frankly, it wasn't at $9.99. But the point is, you guys have the deal of a lifetime on a grail to get the association with Martin Braun and all of the legend that we talked about. This is really extraordinary stuff, and I'm so glad that you guys are taking advantage of that. Now, the other thing we offered tonight, of course, was the XO Retro, and I'm going to correct something because I think that earlier I stated it listed for $495, and I've subsequently been corrected here. It is, in fact, $595 original list, so about $600, but it's even better for you guys. $39.99, shipping included, your choice of the colors. I'm not sure at this point if all those colors are still available, but if they are, any or all you can get. But if you do want all, we put together the set of 4, assuming that's still available, and that is $149.99, shipping included on both of those. So we're going to wrap things up. We'll try to answer any additional questions you have there off to the side. And I thank you guys, we all do here, the team at TAW, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for supporting what we do. We are thrilled that we can put together the program and the services that we provide, and we enjoy it. So what can I say? We're very blessed to know you guys. Thank you on behalf of all of us here. We're going to take a time out, and we'll see you back here soon on another edition of Talk About Watches Live. Thank you. Be well, everybody.